here with us to come and give us an opening statement. And as she makes her way here, let's give her a big round of applause as the media team gives her introduction.
Please welcome Anja Berretta, who's the head of the Regional Program Economy Africa from Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. She leads initiatives focused on economic development, energy security, and climate change in sub-Saharan Africa. Her expertise covers energy policy, climate action, economic development, and international cooperation in Africa, with interests in renewable energy, e-mobility, and mining in a low-carbon economy. Let's welcome her with a big round of applause as she makes her way to the stage. Please.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests. For the sake of time, just allow me, please, to stand on the protocol already observed. My name is Anja Berretta. I'm heading the Konrad Adenauer Program Economy Africa. I was previously heading our program on energy security and climate change for the past 5 years. And this is also the reason why I'm very, very pleased to be here this morning, because we're seeing really these two critical elements, economic development, climate change and climate action coming together in circular economy. Those of you that are not familiar with Konrad Adenauer Foundation, or Stiftung, as we say in German, we are a German political foundation. We are funded by the German government, by the parliament, who sets aside money, but we are independent from the government, so we're not diplomats. We can speak freely. We can also criticize our government if needed. We are here in Nairobi with 3 offices. We have a country office, we have a rule of law program, and a regional program, Economy Africa, which I'm heading. And please feel free to always reach out to us to find out more about our work, and also share initiatives and ideas that you have. We're always happy to partner with you. So I'm very happy, as I said, also that this event is in partnership with KEPSA, because I think the private sector does play an absolutely critical role when it comes to climate action. We believe that the 3 pillars of sustainability need to be really thought together, and the 3 pillars are ecologic sustainability, social sustainability, but also economic sustainability. And business models need to be viable. Yeah, no one will open a business to save the climate if there's not an economic case behind it. But likewise, the times in which we can operate businesses without thinking about CO2 emissions, without thinking about the ecological footprint, are definitely also over. And I feel that here really circular economy comes into place. Apart from the definitions, what circular economy really is, you're probably all much more conversant on that and much more experts. I just want to really underline that circular economy is not only an environmental concept, but really a powerful economic strategy that can drive growth, create jobs, and really position Africa as a global leader in sustainable development. Why Africa? Africa is urbanizing much faster than any other region. By 2050, the population will double, creating enormous demand for housing, food, and energy. And at the same time, a lot of African countries face high unemployment and resource constraints. So the circular economy really offers solutions. It can create millions of jobs, reduce imports, and build resilient local industries. Some key economic opportunities are agriculture, by reducing post-harvest losses, which are currently very high, up to 40% in some countries, through better storage and composting. Manufacturing, recycle metals and plastics to build local value chains. Energy waste, waste to energy projects and biogas for rural electrification. Construction, reuse building materials for affordable housing. And I'm very proud to say that we as KAS, we recently opened our office here in Nairobi, and we have, for example, reused some of the bricks that have been there in order to really reduce the economic footprint of cements. Digital platforms, Kenya is known for having a very vibrant digital skilled young scene. So sharing economy and e-waste recycling hubs does definitely make sense. So in short, there's really an economic impact. Studies show that circular economy strategies could add about 2 to 3% to GDP. In some African economies, it can really potentially create a lot of jobs in recycling, in repair, in green tech. And it also attracts climate finance and ESG investments, really positioning Africa as a sustainable leader. And we need to see really concrete examples how this is done. We need to understand the ideas and opportunities and learn really from each other to understand how specifically small and medium enterprises, but also larger businesses can be created that use circularity as their business models. And this makes this event really important and impactful. I just had, the opportunity to look around and all these amazing ideas that are already coming to life. It's really, really great to see that. Of course, there are some challenges, and we should also very openly and honestly discuss those. On a global level, there are some infrastructure gaps in recycling and waste management. We sometimes have policy fragmentation and harmonized standards. There are sometimes very high upfront costs and limiting green financing available. Consumer resistance to refurbished products. Everyone wants something brand new. Even though there might be, a refurbished product available, also at a lower price, of course. There are some skills shortages that we have to overcome in advancing recycling and product redesign. And sometimes we are facing really complex global value chains that make reverse logistics a bit difficult. I just want to briefly also touch on some specific challenges in the African context. There is, unfortunately, in many countries, a severe infrastructure deficit. There's a lack of formal recycling facilities, reliance on informal waste pickers. Sometimes we have a problem that laws are there, they're excellent, they're great, but sometimes implementation is a challenge, as we all know. Lack of technical training and repair. And as I said, circular products are often perceived as expensive or low quality. And I think this is really also a great opportunity to overcome these prejudices and really make a strong statement for recycled needs products. And I really think this is one of the opportunities where we have a very open and a very honest dialogue on these challenges and how we can overcome them. I just want to also underline one key opportunity, especially for Africa when it comes to circular economy, and this is the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Why? For me, the AfCFTA can really be a game changer when it comes around scaling up circular economy across borders. If there are harmonized standards for recycled materials that enable cross-border trade, one country could, for example, specify on recycling of e-waste, another country could specify on recycling of plastics, and so on and so forth. Trade in organic fertilizers and compost from agricultural waste, but there needs to be a cross-border market. Kenya is a big country, but there are some countries in Africa that are really small that probably don't have the market size to do that on their own. So the more openly those goods can be traded between countries, I think the better it is for everyone. So AfCFTA doesn't just open market, it really creates a continental ecosystem for circular innovation. As a political foundation, we're very happy and proud to support this process. We are a strong advocate for circular economy. We have been working in the past with the African conference, the ministerial conference on environment with UNEP Africa to really support these strategies. We're trying to support where need and where our partners ask us for harmonized standards, We're facilitating multi-platforms. Just like that, we're bringing together stakeholders from the civil society, from the private sector, and from the government. We publish policy briefs, we publish research. We have done extensive research on circular economy opportunities in the mining sector, a sector that is perceived as a very dirty sector, but nevertheless, mining for critical minerals and metals is very, very important also to achieve energy transitions in other parts of the world. So we are also having a lot of awareness and education campaigns to promote sustainable consumptions and really advocate for circular practices. And finally, I want to say this conference takes place at the same time that another very, very important conference is taking place in Belém, which is the COP30, which is about to come to an end. And we cannot forget that the circular economy and climate action are really integrative. Yeah, they're really interlinked. The global conversation centers on climate action and biodiversity. When it comes to climate diplomacy, Africa has very successfully demonstrated that there are African initiatives. African countries have long demanded a seat on the table, not to be seen as a victim, but really to also clearly demonstrate that there are creative ideas coming from the African continent, that Africa is really part of the solution, that there are own African solutions to the climate crisis. And I really think that the circular economy directly supports the Paris Agreement goals by reducing emissions through resource efficiency, cutting waste, promoting reuse. Africa can really significantly lower its carbon footprints by implementing circular strategies. And just a footnote, I know that the African footprint on CO2 is very, very low. So I don't want to say that Africa is the first continent that needs to reduce emissions, but obviously economic growth is one of the priorities, and we do support that, but it has to be, of course, in a sustainable way. COP3 will hopefully mobilize billions in climate finance. Africa must advocate for a fair share of these funds to build recycling infrastructure, waste to energy plants, circular innovation hubs. As I said, AFCFTA has the framework to scale these solutions regionally, creating low carbon trade emissions and green jobs. So just to sum up, Africa's circular economy is not just an economic model, it's a climate strategy, as a pathway to resilience, prosperity, and global leadership in sustainability. And I thank you for your attention. I hope that you're having a very insightful conference. And again, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung is very happy to be part of this, because we really see how climate action and economic growth are going hand in hand and need to be fought together. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anja, for that. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a better round of applause, because it's true. I mean, when you look around, there are several opportunities that we can tap into. It doesn't matter whether you are a business person, whether, it's a community-based organization. There are always opportunities where we can tap into. All right. Right about now, allow me to introduce Camilla and the media team. If you are ready, take it away. Camilla is here on behalf of the Danish.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Camilla Hayden Henningsen, the Sector Councillor for Circular Economy at the Danish Embassy in Kenya. Her work involves